Welcome, everybody, to the Seattle Sports Union Podcast. My name is Abraham Luis. I'm back again with the Soul Man, Brian Solak, and the Southwest Seahawk, Rob English, guys. Here it is, two wins in a row. We are undefeated in the last 2 weeks. Can I say that? Is that okay?
Yes.
Or undefeated in the last 3 weeks. How about that? Because I was a bye. But I don't know what's going on, guys. Somebody gave me like an injection of like Happy Seahawk juice or whatnot, because like I am rolling into this Sunday morning game feeling confident, strong, and powerful. And like, am I? Do I need to be pulled back down off my Seahawk high here?
Well, I tell you what, the Seahawks are giving you, happy Seahawk juice, and it's about time that we've got some. It's been a minute, but I would say, well, I'll speak for myself. I'm going into it with tempered expectations because we have been highly inconsistent, and it would be only the last 2 weeks would only be. It'd only be fitting to be matched by an epic downfall on Sunday, right? So I'm going into it the way I've gone into the last 2 weeks, very humble. I'm gonna sit there and hope to watch a good football game. And when the clock reads, triple zeros and into the fourth quarter, if we have more points than the other team, then I will celebrate and talk loud.
Soul Man, are you tempered and measured, or are you on a high like I am?
I'm on a high, dude.
All right, hey, all right.
But then again, you always tell me I'm on a high, but that's besides the point. But seriously, I'm on a high. I'm excited. I mean, I know we talked about it briefly, but it can be a trap game. But then again, we need to. I mean, we're a rebuilding team, so they shouldn't be jumping ahead to the following week just because we're in first place. They need to treat every game that this season as a priority. And I mean, the Jets may suck this year, but they still got a decent team on paper, and we're going across country. I mean, we've had mixed reviews over the years, playing that 10 o'clock game, but as long as we don't think that they're the Giants, and what happened to us earlier with the Giants earlier this year when they came across to us, I think we can handle these guys pretty easily.
It's a very interesting two things you brought up there, Soul Man. Trap game, is this a trap? And then two, we know what happened against the Giants. Well, one, trap game, yeah, I think it could be a trap game. And two, I still don't know what happened against the Giants. Why was that? Why was that a bear trap in waiting? And I guess we'd have to expect the Jets might be the same.
Well, I think the team that we were against the Giants is not the same team that we are now, even down to the personnel, right? With the two different teams we're talking about, two different Seahawk, teams, rosters that we're talking about now, and it seems that we have turned a corner. That team that went up against the Giants, we were expecting to win because the Giants we know that they're just not good. But it was still that same team that had only beaten three beaten down teams, teams that either didn't have their starting quarterback or were lower tier teams. So we had nothing to really ride on at that point. But this team seems to have turned a corner. However, the New York Jets, we're talking about the potential for it being a trap game. They do have a really good, as Soul Man said, roster on paper, right? They've got Aaron Rodgers. They've got what's the running back's name out there? He's really good.
Well, you got two, Brees Hall and Braylon Allen.
Yes. They've got a great corner in Sauce Gardner. They've got players on that team. Now they've been unable to make it work, but when you have good players, sooner or later something clicks. You know what I mean? It may not click for the whole season, but they're going to get some. They're going to click at some point. And they could end up clicking on Sunday morning, and surprising the rest of the league, and surprising the Seahawk fans and knocking us down and really hurting us. I mean, a loss against the Jets this weekend would really hurt us for the rest of the season. So, like I said, I'm going into it with tempered expectations.
All right, Southwest. Soul Man, any follow-up on that? Like if you were going to say it's a trap, is it like a little teeny mouse trap? Giant fake bear trap?
Or
what kind of trap
snare?
is this? Is this a Venus flytrap?
Maybe a Venus flytrap.
Okay.
Either way, like I said, every game's a I would consider it a trap. I mean, like I said, we're rebuilding, and we just need to take it week by week. And I mean, I can't even remember the first half of the season to where maybe it's because that emotional high I'm on, Abe. I don't know, but either way, something happened in that bye week, and this club is obviously 100. They're 100% different right now, and I like what we see. And Sunday should be. What was that? Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, there's more or less, it's a different team than we had in the past.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh well, guys, I noticed that it looks like at the right guard position, I'm probably going to butcher this name. Satoa Lauamea is going to start for an injured Anthony Bradford. I would have thought that our draft pick Christian Haynes would slot in, but it appears like that's not going to happen. Any concern for you guys that Christian can't rise to the occasion, or is there something deeper here that we need to think about?
I'll go on that real quick. Lamea is also a draft pick. I mean, you got to consider that. I mean, he's a 6th rounder. Sure, 3 rounds different from Christian, but McDonald came out today and he just said, he plain said it. He said Lamea earned it. He worked his butt off and he earned it and he deserves a start. And they're not down on Christian Haynes or anything. I mean, they're going to have him be able to play, to jump right in if they feel they need to throw him in. So I'm excited to see what this kid brings to the table. I mean, granted, we've had 5 or 6 different starting lineups this year, the offensive line alone, but it happens, man. I mean, I think McDonald will pull Lamea if Lamea starts to screw up, but I really don't think he's going to.
Yeah, and I say, I imagine, as Soul Man alluded to, there's going to be a bit of a committee there. I think both guys will probably see some snaps. But yeah, no, I think, I have no problem. The offensive line has been inconsistent at best anyway. So whoever is showing, the best, Tuesday through Thursday, then yeah, let them play. You know what I mean? Whoever's showing that, who's going to do the best, who's going to provide the most continuity on that line going into Sunday. Yeah, I have no problem with the fact that, Haynes, who was drafted higher, would end up, not getting the nod. So I'm on board with it. You would like to see that your earlier draft pick would be the one to pan out, sooner. But hey, that's football,
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Yeah, I guess, we got to think about this fundamentally. We don't want a coach who just plays draft pick because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
No, you're supposed to put the best guy that you see on the field. I totally get that. Let's take a look at our quarterback situation for a second here. Geno has thrown about as many interceptions as he has touchdowns. Last week he had a really bad one. Is this a product of him trying too hard? Is this a crummy offensive line? What's happening here? And what's the fix for it?
Well, I think it's a byproduct of, what we're just talking about, inconsistent offensive line play. I think one thing begets another, right? You have inconsistent play on the line. You got a guy who's taking sacks, sometimes getting guys right in his face. He doesn't get time to even get his feet set. So, over the course of a game, when it's getting down to the nitty gritty and a play has to be made, you make certain decisions that may not be the best at the right time. If you look back at the game against Arizona, Geno had rolled out to his right and had room in front of him, but he thought he saw a player in the end zone and threw that interception. That was a play where it would have been better just to go ahead and just get what you can on the ground, Geno, and hold on to that ball. I feel like quarterbacks that have time in the pocket and are comfortable in the pocket, they don't make so many of these mistakes. However, I will say this: I'm still a firm believer that many of the interceptions that Geno has thrown this year were not necessarily his fault, at least not directly. Many of them were people were directly in his face, and maybe you could argue that the situation as it were, maybe he should have done something different. But it wasn't like he just sat there in the pocket and just threw a duck out there, or hit the wrong side of the receiver. That's maybe 3 or 4 of those, if that. Many of the other ones were brought about by some other circumstance. So I'm not really worried about the interceptions, but we definitely don't want to see ones like that game last week.
Soulman, you worried?
I 100% agree with what Southwest said. And as you were talking, I was just trying to reflect. I can't stand Geno. I've never talked about it, but
Where'd
I
this
hate.
come from? What?
I just want to bring it up here, but where I'm going to lead to, I don't know if it'll make a point to you guys or not, but to me it'll be a point. But watching him in these games, in the last few games, last few weeks, I think he's trying too hard on certain occasions. But some of those bad plays that he made are part of the reason was because of the shitty offensive line or the play calls or Metcalf running the wrong route on that one game. I think, I don't know who was it, Niners or somebody, I don't remember who, but and I realize it may sound cheesy, but Geno is a human being, and I think he really is trying to do his best. And with my hatred, I've totally blocked that out. But Geno's is just over trying. But going back to your question, it's just trying to do too many things at once when he's got to tuck the ball or throw it. Look at his other options. I mean, we're used to Russell Wilson for several years, and then all of a sudden we get Geno coming in and totally different quarterback. And hopefully a piece of that made sense to you guys. But
I need to ask Rob here. So Soulman hates Geno, but he's a nice guy. But you know what? I don't like him. Yeah, unless he does well, then I don't like him.
I'm starting to like him more, though.
Okay.
You sound a bit like an East Coast football fan.
Yeah. I hate the guy, but I'd buy him a cheese Danish if I saw him in line at Starbucks.
He's literally. We enter into this week with him second in the league in passing. He's got more completions than about 5 or 6 of other quarterbacks who we would all say are better quarterbacks than him. I mean, his completion percentage, again, higher than many quarterbacks who people would put above him as far as who's better and who's not. So despite all that has, quote unquote, gone wrong with Geno in this offense, he is out there outperforming some of these quarterbacks that people would swear are one of the best quarterbacks in the league, top 5, top 10, maybe even top 5 quarterbacks. So, I mean, yards don't tell the whole story, but the guy's out there chucking it, and he's doing it well. He's doing it to the tune of what has he got? You might know what his current yard stats are.
It's like 3,200, give or take. But he's over 3,000. I know that.
Yeah, 30, 35. So 3,035 yards.
Okay.
He is less than 20 yards behind Lamar Jackson, who's first. So, I mean, the guy's out there playing football, and you can't take that away from him. It hasn't been pretty, but it doesn't need to be pretty. All that matters is that you get the W.
So, man, I'm wearing green. My sweater's green, and I might look like the Grinch, but for you, what would make your heart grow 3 times bigger for Geno Smith? What would you like to see out of him?
Maybe to see a smile every once in a while.
It's a personal thing. It's a personal thing.
He looks so angry a lot on the sidelines. There's no reason to look so angry. Maybe it is a personal thing. I don't know, but
okay.
I do agree with what Southwest just said too. I mean, the guy has outperformed many of the supposedly better quarterbacks out there. He's had a hell of a year, and he deserves more credit than I give him. That's for sure.
I'm going to give you some advice, and of the 3 of us, I know the least about women than any of us. You guys are married. I haven't been able to make that happen yet. But I'm going to give you one piece of advice. Don't tell your wife to just smile. It'll make her look prettier. That's the only thing I know about women. I don't know anything
telling
else.
them to calm down. Like don't ever tell a woman to calm down. Yeah.
Let's take a look at the other quarterback in this game. Let's take a look at Aaron Rodgers. So at this point in his career, what is he? I mean, he was intended to come over as a savior. A lot of meh as far as output and production, and you just kind of wonder 2 years in, did the Jets put their cart to the wrong horse?
I don't know. It's tough to talk about Aaron Rodgers, right? Because he's at the end of the day, he is Aaron Rodgers, and his resume and his reputation precedes him. I almost don't care how bad he performs. He doesn't cease to be Aaron Rodgers, and I would have to see a long, a long stretch of time of him just looking bad before I'm gonna, stop assuming him to be one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league, even at his age. I feel like they just need to get some continuity on that team, and I think they will. They might be able to come back, not this season, but I think there's one of the situations where, kind of like Denver with Russell, they thought that bringing in this quarterback was the one piece that we needed to be great. Because that's how it was with Brady in Tampa. All we needed was that one quarterback, and then we'll be great. And they were, but Denver was not the case, and it looks like it's not the case in New York either. But Aaron Rodgers can flash at any moment. He's got two great receivers over there. I can't say that I'm not worried.
What about you, Soul Man? Are you worried about Rodgers this Sunday?
I am, like what Southwest said. I mean, the guy's had a hell of a career. He's surrounded by a great team, two awesome wide receivers. I know he's getting older. I just think, something's wrong there mentally and physically. Just watch it. I'm no expert, but just watch him throw the ball this year. It seems like something's wrong with his throwing shoulder, but I'm still worried about what he could do to us on Sunday. I mean, the guy's smart. There's a reason why he's been in the NFL for 20 years.
Well, let's go back to we're talking about quarterbacks. Let's go back to Geno. That game. Did you watch that? Did either of you watch that disaster called the Cowboys versus the Giants yesterday?
Oh man.
Okay, so yes. So Drew Lock, can we put to rest, even though, Soul Man, you hate Geno, like personally.
Yes.
Can we put to rest that Drew Lock did not need to play for the Seahawks?
Yes, 100%. I know I don't talk on the feeds most of the time that with group chats we have, but every time I see a certain person bring up Drew Lock all the time on the feeds, I want to say, shut up. And the guy was 1 year or 2 years, I can't remember, but
a couple of years, yeah.
Couple of years, but he did nothing, to be a part of our team. He was obviously, and he's not here anymore. So what's the point of even talking about the guy? I mean,
the reason being is, let's expand on that, Soul Man.
Okay.
Sam Howell, there's like calls to bring Sam Howell in, similar to the way there were calls to bring in Drew Lock. What do you think about that?
I didn't. Oh, that's a good point, but I guess I should shut up then, because
no, you get to say what you want to say. It doesn't have to be rational. It doesn't have to make sense. I mean, we got Southwest Seahawk on here for that.
Very true. I guess I'm one who wanted Sam Howell thrown in there much earlier. Last year when we got him in the off season, I was excited for someone to come in to compete with Geno, and I thought he could do the job. And I was even calling for him, first part of the season, even when we won our first 3 games. And
right on.
With that said, still, it's time. It's Geno's team, and I need to shut up about it.
Southwest, I think I need to hand the mic over to you for that comment I made. I'm sure I'm going to pay for that at some point.
Listen, there is, and I'm talking, at large here. There is the fan that would consider himself the student of the game, and then there's the casual fan, right? The average fan, and a lot of the casual fans, they think that, because they play a little fantasy football or maybe have played Madden, that they know football, right? And
right.
and so you get out there and you see, a player such as Drew Lock or such as Sam Howell who made some plays in the preseason, or even Drew Lock last year. He beat Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Like, and that was, mind you, Philadelphia was reeling at the time, but they were still arguably one of the better teams in the league. They started off hot. But Drew Lock went out there and played a great game, and we won that game with him, with Geno out. But what we cannot, and what so many people seem to just disregard, that the decisions to who plays on Sunday are not made on Sunday. Those decisions are made Monday through Thursday on the practice field and in the classroom. That is where the front office is deciding which players are going to be on the field at kickoff. Like that just because you saw a guy throw one good ball in a preseason game and then your starting quarterback threw 2 interceptions in an actual game does not mean one is better than does not mean the bench guy is better than the starter. It's just crazy. It's just a level of just obvious lack of understanding about how it works, and it's crazy every time I hear it. Drew Lock should not have been starting for the Seahawks last year, and we saw Drew Lock play a very poor game yesterday, and Sam Howell should not be starting for the Seahawks this year, despite how he looked in the preseason. Can he be good? Maybe he will be one day. Who knows? But right now, forget about it. The best quarterback on the Seattle Seahawks roster, his name is Eugene Cyril Smith.
Right on.
Well said.
So let's move to the running game. Jets have Brees Hall. They have a young Braylon Allen. With what we've seen the last 2 weeks out of Ernest Jones and out of Trace Knight.
Tyrese
Knight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
You like Trice, though. You like Trice.
I love that. Like that needs to be his name. Anyway, Tyrese Knight and Ernest Jones. Julian Love kicking it. Kobe Bryant doing an amazing job. Are they up to this double-headed dragon that's coming at us?
Absolutely. Absolutely we are. I mean, see, with I know it's the last 3 weeks of small sample size, but you look what we did with the Rams, with Arizona, and with the Niners. I mean, we shut down their running games. I mean, we are unstoppable out there. And Hall and Allen are good running backs, but they don't match up to McCaffrey and Connor, in my opinion. But I think we'll force Rodgers to throw a lot on Sunday, and that'll be a good thing.
Right on. Southwest?
Well, the run defense has been a big question mark for us in recent years, and I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken, where we shored up the run game. The run game was porous for a moment, and then we had a couple of games where it was really good, and then it fell apart again. So again, I am doing my very best to try to keep my feelings on and trying to stay on a level, because yes, we did a really good job against the Rams, did a great job against Christian McCaffrey, an amazing job against Arizona, holding down James Conner and Kyler Murray. Neither one of them ran the ball against us. So that was amazing. But you've got these guys in New York who do know how to run the ball. It's going to be a cold weather game, so it's going to really get. I think you want to force them to throw the ball, but it's going to be down in the trenches. Trenches are important in this game. Cold weather, you're going to have to run the football. And I think we'll learn what we're going to see against that running game early. But you also got to figure out too, late in the game, that's when the big runs end up breaking. So I think in this game we'll have a really good, like Soul Man said, small sample size so far. But if we can go out there and recreate what we've done over the last few weeks against the Jets and their running attack, I think now I think we might actually have something here, and we can go into it with confidence instead of unsureness, if that's the word. Uncertainty is the word I think I was looking for. There we go.
What do you guys want to see? What do you guys want to see the most? Do you want to see the Seahawks attack Sauce Gardner, our biggest, baddest guy, DK Metcalf versus their biggest, baddest guy? Or do you want to see them find ways to get Tyler Lockett and JSN the ball? Stay away from the hazard.
I want to see them go after Gardner, and I always say that because if you look at his numbers this year, Gardner has not played great. He really hasn't. His rookie season, his last two, because this is his third year, right?
Yep, that's right.
So his first 2 years he was great. Remember his rookie season, him and Rick Woolen, were all going, they're neck and neck as far as how their production on the field. He had I think a halfway decent season last year, but his numbers are not good this year. He's been getting beat. I think maybe there might be just enough tape on him to see where his weaknesses are. And teams are finding finding ways to beat him. So I say go after him. Let's keep at it. The guy has been quiet all year. There's got to be a reason for that. And if the Seahawks have done their homework, yeah, go get him. Go after Sauce Gardner. Now, if he picks off the first pass, thrown his way, okay, maybe we'll rethink it. But I say go after him.
What do you want to see, Soul Man?
I didn't think about that. Sauce has had an off season, and very good points you made, Southwest. But with that said, I'd rather see us use JSN for mismatches. I forgot that the Jets have DJ Reed, remember former Seahawk, on the other side, and I'd like to see what happens when JSN goes up against him, and so it's going to be fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, but that's the way I would go.
Right on. All right, guys, let's take a look ahead a little bit. I want to just bring out the good news. It looks like Nwosu, our D end, is gonna be back. I wonder, is this the last and final piece that puts us over the top for the NFC West, or is this too little, too late in his return?
I think too little, too late. I mean, it's a missing piece and just another all-star addition to our defense. But
it's nice, but not. It's not going to add that much. It's you think the Seahawks that we have right now is what's needed?
Correct.
Okay. Nice to have Southwest, or is he an impact player that puts this over the top?
I think that Nwosu being on the field all season long is certainly an upgrade, but I do fear that him coming back and just assuming the starting role there might throw a bit of a wrench in the continuity that we've gained over the last few weeks. I would be concerned there. I mean, it's you want to assume that the better player coming back means everything, you're only going to get better. But I have an actual bit of concern there. Nwosu is great. He's shown that. But he's also shown that he's really good at being hurt. I mean, I think he's, I'm not going to say that he's the new Jamal Adams, but he's been off the field more than he's been on. And that's a concern, So, that causes that breeds, a lack of continuity there. And we have it right now. So, I would hope that they don't just pull pull the other guy and put him in.
Derek Hall.
It would be Derek Hall, right? So, I know it's tough to call that one. I would hope that maybe they sprinkle him in slowly instead of just pull the plug on Hall.
Tricky question coming up. Actually, I want to throw my comment in on there. I feel like you guys he's a nice to have, but I'm not going to assume that he's going to reach the levels that he was at when healthy. And I feel confident that what we've got is working. So, put him in, definitely, but he shouldn't just take somebody's job right off the bat. Let's see. Yeah. Maybe bring him back slowly because there's always the rust. But I got to get to the next question here. I want to know, is this the Seahawks' potential coming out party? Assuming we win, does this put the league on notice, or is this, or are we just going to be on the league's back burner until, at some point we make it to it? Hopefully we make it to the playoffs.
No, this is not the game. This is not the game because, well, let me, if I can answer this in kind of two parts, Abe. This is not the game unless the rest of the division has a rough week. Because I mean, if we get I don't know who the Cardinals play, but if we get a full game ahead, on the division, we're totally having a different conversation, right? I think the Cardinals play Philly. Who do the Cardinals play? Anybody know offhand?
I want to say Philly. But
I feel like Philly, but yeah. I think if we can get a full game ahead in this division, coming down to the wire here, yes, that does change the conversation. If for no other reason than just by the numbers. What I'll say though is if we go back up against the Cardinals here in Phoenix, I'll be at the game. If we go back into and beat the Cardinals again, yes, now we're talking. Okay, let's look at the Seahawks. The national eye, we'll have to pay attention, because with only 3 games left after that point, we have 2 of those games that are against really good teams, and we end off with the Bears, right? Or end up with the Rams, but we got the Bears in there. Yeah. So Packers and Minnesota. The NFC North is a very, very tough team, tough division. So we'll have to see what those games do for us. But yeah, I think if we can knock off these Jets and then go beat Arizona again, yes, now they're going to have to talk about us.
Awesome. So it's Cardinals, Vikings, Rams play the Saints, and Niners play the Bears.
Rams, Cardinals, Vikings. Wait, who? Cardinals, Vikings. This okay? Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that bodes well for us. You know what I mean? That the Vikings are a good team. They're playing well. Like I said, that North Division is very strong. So we have an opportunity here to really, gain some ground or separate ourselves, I should say, which will only help. And then we beat the Cardinals again. Right now we got the sweep. We're looking really good. So then it'll just be down to those games against Green Bay and Minnesota.
Right on. Soul Man, is this the coming out party, or are you like Rob? Got to see how the rest of this shakes out.
I got to see how the rest of this shakes out. I even think more to a point where we need to win. I don't know, what would we say, 6 games left? We need to win 4 out of our next 6 games and then make the playoffs before the league will take us seriously. I mean, we got too many little things to work on. I mean, I'm excited again about the defense and everything, but the league will not take us serious until they see us in the playoffs, and then we beat the living out of somebody in the first round. But it's going to take time before they take notice, the league, on us.
Give me one. Right on. I think you guys are right. Even though it's New York, I think the league's not going to pay attention until we've got this wrapped up. Got a question for you guys about the key. Give me your one key as to what will win. I'll get this one started here. I think it's stopping the run for the Jets. I mean, it's kind of, I realize how dorky and like every TV analyst says, "Oh, you got to stop the run. You got to run." But in this case, it's 1,000% accurate. You can't let Hall, you can't let Allen get away. And on the other side, my God, you got to get Walker the damn ball, and you got to get him in space. And we'll see what the offensive line can do.
Yeah. For me, I need to see the running game. I mean, the obvious thing is, we need to get Geno some time in the pocket. But no, I feel like what we're doing right now, although we've won, I feel like it's not sustainable. We are unbalanced. Yeah, we're one-dimensional. Exactly. Okay. And that is not even Seahawk football. Like that's not Seahawk football. No, forget whatever era you want to look at Seahawk football. That's never been us. We've always run the football, and so for us being so pass heavy, it fights every fiber in me. It's like, okay, this is okay. We won. We're all right. But this doesn't feel right? Because every time you hand the ball off, you're getting stuffed. You're getting 2 yards. Maybe you get a 7 or 8, 9 yard run, once or twice in a game. But we're not running the football, and it's very concerning. And I feel like, it's not sustainable. We will not beat the teams that are the better teams if we can't be a little more balanced.
So, man,
I'll be the third one to go for the running game. And in my notes here, I truly believe that Walker needs to get 80 to 100 yards on Sunday and get in the end zone a couple times. Also, people forget that the Jets have the number 2 pass defense in the league, and they haven't allowed a 300-yard passer. Doesn't mean that Geno's not going to get that this week, but I think we need to lean more on our running game, get that going this week for us to be successful. Plus, my boy Geno, if he wants me to be on his good side, needs to limit the turnovers. Hopefully, we have 0, but we got to cut down on that.
Well, yeah, if he want, I'm sure he's out there listening. Like, geez, I wish Soul Man would like me, but we'll see. We'll see if he can do what you ask him to do. Let's go ahead and give our predictions now. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we think is going to happen in the game. I'll go ahead and kick this one off here. I think this is going to be a defense-intensive game. I think it's going to be 2017 Seahawks win.
Nice.
I concur. I think that we're probably looking at a 2-score win in this game.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think the Jets have been losing games by more than 1 score a majority of the time here. Just to make a quick point to Brian's last statement. Yeah, their pass defense is not giving up a lot of yards, but that's because teams have been able to run the football because they're winning. They're winning
true.
games late in the game.
Very
So there's no need to air the ball out, right? So yeah, I'm not worried necessarily about the fact that their pass defense appears on paper to be decent. So yeah, no, I'm going to say 2 scores. I'm going to say this is going to be 27-14, 27-13, something like that.
So, man.
It's going to be a low-scoring game. The Jets will score a late touchdown, but we're going to pull it out 23-17.
Right on. Okay, let's hope one of those results occur. All right, we're at the end of our show here, and we always like to end the show with a positive note, and that would be our shout-outs. Soul Man, let's go ahead and have you kick it off with the shout-out today.
All right, I'm going to give a shout-out to John Mateer, quarterback for my Washington State Cougars. He's probably one of the top 15 offensive players in the country this year. Long story short, tomorrow will probably be his last game before the bowl game because I know he's going to be moving on to a richer college, maybe perhaps USC, where they'll pay him double, triple what he's getting at Wazoo. So thank you, John, for the memories, and best of luck to you, buddy.
Southwest?
I'm going to give my shout out to this is an ironic shout out. I'm going to give my shout out to Matt Eberflus because I don't know how in the world you managed to screw up an end of the game the way that he did the other day. That was I don't know if I've seen anything done so poorly. All that time that was on the clock, they could have taken a nap and done 5 other tasks before and with the timeout in the pocket, and they just let the clock expire when they had the game to potentially win. Unbelievable. So my shot's gonna go to Matt Eberflus because I think he just
nobody else is going to give him a positive thing to say. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I'm gonna talk him off the ledge. Like, don't do it, buddy. You'll be all right. Just go to sleep, take a nap. And tomorrow's a new day.
Right on. Yeah, and my shout-out's going to be to the friends that I hung out with last night for Thanksgiving. I didn't think I was going to go anywhere or have any place to be, and some friends reached out to me and got me in to get some turkey, but most importantly, mashed potatoes and gravy.
Nice.
So thank you guys for that, and want to thank everybody for joining us here on the Seattle Sports Union podcast. I want to have you guys all check out our YouTube videos and our podcast on Spotify and iTunes, anywhere you get podcasts, honestly. And check out our social media at Seattle Sports U on X and as well on Facebook. And on behalf of the Soul Man, Brian Solak, the Southwest Seahawk, Rob English, and myself, Abraham Deweese, we'll see you guys next time.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.